In the news this week, stay focused. What can be done to encourage drivers to stop texting?
New warnings against retiring young amid plans to keep the current retirement age.
Weapons and drugs seized following separate property raids linked with outlaw motorcycle gangs.
And still going strong, Scitex reaches its 30th birthday.
This is the Evening News with Ivan Leung and Danielle Staniskov.
A driver found guilty of a horrific collision that fatally injured her friend passenger has been allowed to keep her licence while she waits for her sentencing. Ministers believe the magistrate's judgment call was disappointing and that all drivers should take more care on our roads. Taylor Hannah begins our coverage.
Texting is arguably one of the most dangerous things one can do while driving. An incident this week saw a woman texting and driving before she collided into another car and fatally injured her passenger. Police Minister Michelle Roberts said given the dangerous circumstances in which she was driving, she should have her licence revoked.
And if people did the right thing, if they didn't use their mobile phone while driving, particularly at high speed, lives would be saved.
Ms Roberts said the Road Safety Commission and WA Police will continue to promote a strong road safety message to the community.
Sadly, people think that they're such great drivers that they can text or look at things on their mobile phone and drive at the same time. That's not the case.
Shadow Police Minister Peter Katzambana said not enough is being done in relation to texting and driving.
How often can we say it? Texting and driving doesn't work. Put your phone down. Put both hands on the steering wheel and concentrate on the road. That's the only way we can ensure safety.
Taylor Hannah, WAMN News.
Finance experts are warning youths against building savings to retire early, despite the federal government dumping planned changes to the retirement age. As Nelson Liu reports, there are concerns they're not thinking about their future needs while pressuring themselves to live comfortably sooner.
Retiring early is a dream many young Australians hope for, but financial experts are warning.
I think it's fairly naive.
They're concerned they could be pushing themselves to stop working sooner by accumulating savings early to live comfortably.
Some young people are perhaps putting too much pressure on themselves to be able to stop work.
They attribute it to the dissatisfaction of working.
Sometimes the young people might feel, unlike people in the past, a bit disenfranchised in terms of having that form of recognition in terms of what they do.
It comes as Prime Minister Scott Morrison announced this week he'll keep Australia's retirement age at 67 years. Young people often want to stop working sooner, but there are concerns it's a dream they're not ready for.
They have got so many years that they have to cater for.
Impacts to the economy are also a problem, with retirees turning to welfare. But experts say taking smaller holidays as well as finding enjoyable jobs could ease the youth pressures of work. Nelson Liu, WAMN News.
WA police have seized a massive haul of drugs and guns after raids on properties linked to the outlaw motorcycle gang in Perth South. Gang crime squad officers raided 2 Port Kennedy homes on Tuesday, seizing meth, MDMA, MDA and cannabis, along with rifles, revolvers, ammunition and cash. 2 men and women from Port Kennedy have charged with drugs and guns offences.
Bikie gangs are organised criminal gangs. I don't see them or view them, nor should anyone else, as simply social clubs. They are organised crime. That's why they're getting organised crime attention from the police. That will continue and we will be relentless in policing them.
A rally next week against the proposed outer harbour at Coburn Sound is expecting to attract approximately 6,000 people. Tim Barlow, co-convener of the Fish Army, said the community support has been fantastic and is getting bigger and bigger as the event nears. The critical threat to Coburn Sound is under from the proposed outer harbour comes particularly from the dredging and land reclamation, effectively putting a grave risk on Western Australia's snapper stocks.
When you look at Coburn Sound, the EPA actually have 16 environmental red flags for the sound itself. And back in 2006, they rejected all 4 proposals for the outer harbour based on the fact that the cumulative environmental impact was too great. And we could basically end up with a very sterile and dead body of water.
A fatal overdose incident that transpired this week further adds fuel to the police union's fire against the 10 24-hour metropolitan police stations. Union President George Tilbury made claims that keeping more stations open reduced the number of police on the front line. The opposition says the state government has made the wrong decision. Police Minister Michelle Roberts said the Commissioner's restructuring ensured there are more officers on the front line than ever before.
Since we've had Armidale Station open, for example, there have been thousands of people come in out of hours. And in those early hours of the morning, there's been hundreds of people that have contacted the Armidale Police Station. So this is a service that the public wants to see.
Iranian President and Turkey President has met with Russian President Vladimir Putin to discuss the crisis in Syria. Putin says the Syrian government has the right to govern its land, at the same time stating the possibility of chemical warfare from terrorists. Iran also urged the US and Israel to withdraw their forces near Syria. White House's economic advisor says evaluation results will determine the tariff rates towards China. The advisor reiterates that the United States seeks zero tariffs, zero non-tariff barriers, zero subsidies, cessation of intellectual property rights, and allows Americans to own their own businesses in China.
And finally this week, inspiring West Australian children, families and visitors in all reads of science, technology, engineering and maths has been Scitex Mission for the last 30 years of operation. With approximately 75% of the fastest growing occupation requiring STEM skills, Scitex has launched its new strategy to cater for visitors of all ages and backgrounds, as well as those look to reskill for future jobs.
What that means is if you don't have access to the development of these skills, you're going to be locked out of 75% of the fastest growing jobs in the future. So Scitex's job is to work with all of our partners, community, industry, government, teachers and parents to make sure everyone has the ability to develop these skills.
And that's our weekly news and current affairs. For all the latest happenings, you can visit our website and our Facebook page.
From Danny and myself and the rest of the team until 8 o'clock next Sunday, a very good evening to you.
Good night.